This is the story of how one man's dumb idea created the worst tournament in esports history, managed to piss off some of esports' biggest teams, and bankrupt his own company. One LAN has lived in infamy as the worst event ever. The Fyre Festival of gaming, with missing computers, confiscated passports, and of course, not a cent of prize money paid out.
Shittest fucking event that has ever happened, to the point where people are literally grateful to get out of the country with their lives, let alone their fucking prize money.
If you thought that iBuyPower Masters or the Shanghai Major had problems, let me introduce you to the gaming paradise.
That was the worst tournament ever. It was insane.
Gaming Paradise was the brainchild of Sasa Bullock, the CEO of a tournament organizer called The Gaming Resorts, which, confusingly, was not an actual resort. The event was supposed to hold Dota and CSGO tournaments, with a $50,000 prize pool for each in Portorož, Slovenia, a small town on the country's Adriatic coast. Bullock was a software engineer with no event production experience, so he turned to Petar Markovic and his tournament organizer company Gamers.RS to help turn his tournament dream into a reality. Gamers.RS organized the tournament and handled all the infrastructural concerns. That means stage, internet, venue. They were basically responsible for making sure the show happened. The gaming resorts, on the other hand, were the sponsor. That means they handled any of the financial concerns for the event, paying for the venue, paying the prize money, all of the cash flow. Gaming Paradise was billed as a 3-day festival of, and I'm quoting here, live music, killer beer, and epic gaming. As teams flew into Slovenia for the CSGO qualifier, the gaming resorts were responsible for busing players from the airport to the venue. But the buses were late, and the players didn't actually arrive at the venue until 3 in the morning.
Летели в Венецию около полутора часа. Ждали там еще около часа, пока нас соберут организаторы, все команды, и посадят на автобус, и мы поедем все-таки в Словению. В итоге с горем пополам мы добрались в Словению где-то около 3 часов ночи.
The next day, games were supposed to be held in tents outside, but everything got delayed because of a heavy storm that blew through the town.
Не знаю, в общем, и сегодня сказали, что штормовое предупреждение, и типа вот сейчас дождь идет, и вообще как-то так пасмурно, темно и не очень приятно, вроде как приехали недалеко там от моря, да, и в итоге такая погода. Ну, сказали, что матчей сегодня не будет, зато завтра мы будем играть там, походу, в 2 раза больше матчей.
It was a literal act of God, a sign from the heavens that this tournament was cursed. And yet, the real show was only going to begin in a few months. In late August, Gamers.RS went to the venue to start setting everything up. There was one problem though. There were no PCs. According to Markovic, the gaming resorts were responsible for getting the computers from a gaming cafe in Brussels 12 hours away. But one of their drivers went completely MIA. Left with only one truck, the remaining driver asked the gaming resorts which was more important, the PCs or the monitors. They chose the monitors. Yeah, I don't know why either.
What actually happened, computers never came, so they changed their minds. They got some other PCs that weren't really for gaming. Those PCs didn't have graphic cards, and those arrived a bit late, so they then tried to manage to get some graphic cards so we can run the tournament.
Without the PCs from Brussels, the only computers they had left were 20 old workstations with out-of-date CPUs and graphics cards. But don't worry, they managed to upgrade the computers thanks to shady Bitcoin miners from Slovenia. The only problem was they still weren't powerful enough to run the games properly. All of this less than 1 week before the tournament was set to begin. The CSGO tournament was supposed to start on September 6th, but of course it got delayed. When the games actually did start, the stream quality was subpar, to say the least. See, in all of the scramble to set everything up and get graphics cards, no one tested the stream. And while they were promised decent internet, what they got was garbage. On day 2, Gaming Paradise announced that the Dota 2 tournament was just cancelled. They said that because they were having so much trouble running CSGO, it was best for them to just focus on fixing all of that first. But instead of fixing the issues, things actually got much, much worse. What's the worst thing you can imagine happening to you at an esports event? Losing? Not getting paid? Try getting your passport confiscated by the police.
First bad thing that happened today, one of our staff members from Gamers.RS approached me and told me that he can't get his passport from the reception of the whole marina where this is venue and where this venue is and the hotel and everything. We went to the reception and asked what's going on, and they told us that the venue and the marina didn't get paid enough to give us the personal IDs and to get back to the rooms.
This was a huge problem. The gaming resorts didn't actually pay for the hotel or the marina that were hosting the tournament. And while they were trying to figure out what the problem was, the police decided to just take everyone's passports so they couldn't go anywhere. Now the players were trapped. No way out of Slovenia at a tournament with no food, no computers, and increasingly, no hope. 3 of the teams were supposed to be playing in the ESL-ESEA Invitational Tournament in Dubai just a few days later. But of course, everyone was stuck, not just the teams trying to escape to a better tournament. Other tournaments have messed up in the past, but nothing has ever been this bad. A couple of missing computers and technical delays is nothing compared to being stranded in a foreign country without your passport. To make matters worse, representatives of the venue, also pissed off that they weren't paid, decided to lock all the production staff out. Gamers.RS tried to save the event, negotiating with police to get passports back and unlock the venue, but there was more bad news. Remember Sasa Bulik, the gaming resort CEO? He showed up and told all the teams that they weren't going to be paid the prize money they were owed. In fact, the tournament was canceled unless all the teams agreed to being paid up to 90 days after the tournament ended. And they all agreed.
So we called an urgent meeting with all the players and told them about the situation. That's why we got the whole delay thing today. And we also invited the CEO of the gaming resorts. So he talked with them, and the final decision is to continue the games, and players will sign a contract with exclusively the gaming resorts for that matter.
And after a few matches were cut short due to time constraints, Huynh ended up winning the tournament and walked away with a 90-day IOU for $30,000. Despite the promises from Bulik, no prize money was ever actually paid out. The gaming resorts filed for bankruptcy and Bulik disappeared.
I remember he said something about it. He said like, this is by far the best tournament ever, and then he ended everything in like, hail Satan or something. He said something like that. It was so weird, and he was like signing papers left and right about everyone is getting money, but much more money and blah blah blah, and then everyone, like, he just disappeared.
He did, however, give the Daily Dot one more quote for everyone to remember him by. "It was my first event," he said, "and I still did much better than anybody around." Bulik's inexperience turned his DreamHack-esque fantasy into a laughing stock. Gaming.RS was left to clean up the mess. They helped teams get their players to Dubai for the Invitational, they helped players get their passports back, they pretty much cleaned up everything they possibly could have. Their CEO even did a Reddit AMA where he answered any question that he could. Gaming Paradise is, without question, the worst LAN ever. It had everything. Busted computers, seized passports, a literal act of God. You couldn't write a more perfect disaster. Esports production has come a long way in the last couple of years. So remember, next time you're complaining in Twitch chat about how bad a tournament seems to you, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been Gaming Paradise.
Thanks for watching. If you want more great content just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.